Okay. I'll use this up here. So I'd like to call this meeting of McKinney Chapter Sons of the American Revolution to order. Can you hear me back there? Yes. Okay, great. All right. Coming this evening. Hope the barbecue was adequate. Let's start. I think we're both on the rise. Let's start with our invocation.
Are we ready?
Yes, yes, Don. Please.
All right. Heavenly Father, in whom we live and move and have our being, we humbly pray thee so to guide and govern us by the Holy Spirit, that in the work and activities of the Sons of the American Revolution, we may never forget you, but remember that we are ever walking in your sight through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. And Don, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I'll start.
Who's he called?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Peter, would you lead us in the text? Oh, yeah, well, I'll do it. Thank you. Okay. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge
allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We, descendants of the heroes of the American Revolution, who by their sacrifices established the United States of America, reaffirm our faith in the principles of liberty and the constitutional republic, and solemnly pledge ourselves to defend them against every foe.
Thank you. Be seated. Okay, so go around and do our announcements here. Not our announcements. Introduction, self-introductions.
Hello, yes.
Okay, so we're just going to go around and just say who you are and where you're from, and if you're an officer of another chapter or our chapter, please tell the people that too.
Good evening, Bill Taylor. My wife Carol is joining me this evening. We appreciate it.
Mark McCraw, McKinney, Vice President of Program.
Joe Jaynes, McKinney, I live in Allen. My name's Tom Foster, and I'm from Princeton.
Oh, great name.
George Bradford, McKinney chapter, my wife George.
Ray Vargas, first vice president, Evan Terrell, and a member here. Ted Wilson, and Terrell. Tommy F. Fawcett, District 6 VP, Dallas, first VP, and a member of this happy chapter. Yeah. Color Guard and East Fort Trinity and Plano. T.L. Holden, member of Edmond Terrell and Sherman, registrar up there. Unofficial genealogist for North Texas chapters and a member of McKinney. John Greer, I'm the veterans chairman at Edmond Terrell and McKinney. I live on the banks of Lake Milwaukee.
Wake up every morning.
I'm Andy Nelson, McKinney chapter and the vice president of the Woods.
Rich Bonaparte, McKinney registrar, and my wife Lynn.
Peter Ford, McKinney, and the treasurer.
Blaster Youth Secretary. Online we have Bill Hurst and Don Babs.
Kerry Burnett, member of that's good.
Joe Jaynes, I live in McKinney, and I'm your speaker tonight.
There you go. All right. good. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mark who will introduce our speaker. Hopefully all the technology will work right.
So our speaker tonight is Joe Jaynes. He is from Mesquite, Texas. His family first came here, I believe, to Connecticut in 1640, if I remember correctly. And his ninth great-grandfather was named Bloodblow, and I think he was maybe a lieutenant for 3 or so terms up there, but he's had family all over the United States. He has visited all of the presidential libraries, which is quite an accomplishment. And he's been a teacher for Collin College for many, many years. He was the 5th person hired there in 1985 at Collin College. It had 1,100 people, and now he told me tonight maybe 60,000 people, students go there. Joe also served as a county commissioner here for about 16 years, and I think he's been retired from that for about 10 years now. He's going to speak to us on Hamilton versus Jefferson.
All right. Every day I face 16-year-olds. It's good to see some gray hair.
Well, I like you already. This is great.
First of all, I don't know if you guys know how much college has changed. Before the pandemic, it's pretty much the same that when we all went. I mean, you go in face to face with the teacher, take a test. You guys remember blue books? The little blue folder. And then the pandemic hit, so everything went online. And these are my classes today. This is the dashboard. It's a program called Canvas. There's 2 classes that are online, and the other 4 here are face-to-face. And my philosophy was when we had to put all that online, if another pandemic hits, I'm ready to go. Okay, so basically, whether it's face-to-face, it's the same. And one thing I've been enjoying teaching to my students is Hamilton versus Jefferson. And I put it under the pretext of President Washington's administration. And I say Washington had to deal with 3 big issues. And his first one was Hamilton versus Jefferson. Because in his cabinet, keep in mind back then, presidential cabinet was like 5 people. He had probably 2 of the greatest American philosophers ever. They both have very different philosophies on the way they want the country to go, and they both drove Washington crazy. And there were times he had to think he was dealing with a couple of 8th graders. And basically, I'm going through in about 15, 20 minutes what ordinarily would take a week. But Alexander Hamilton, Secretary of the Treasury. Alexander Hamilton, I always tell my students, these guys have 5-point philosophy. You don't have to take notes, there won't be a quiz. But Hamilton believed, 1, you need a strong federal government. Hamilton was not into democracy at all. At the Constitutional Convention, he got up and made a 5-hour speech about the type of government he wanted. He wanted a president for life, and he wanted a Senate where members served for life. After that 5-hour speech, they took a vote. He got 1 vote, his own. All right. So he wants a strong federal government. He believes in weak state governments. Hamilton does not even like the concept of states. Instead of Virginia, it should be federal district number 13. All right. So basically, federal government's where it's at. He's not, like I say, not into democracy, almost a monarchist for the most part. And then Hamilton also believes the country's future is industry. Industry is going to be the cutting edge. You know, I tell my students, this country's gone through 3 phases economically: agriculture, industry, and what is it today? Technology. Hamilton would be so into the technology that's going on, always believe in the cutting edge. And basically, Hamilton has a group of followers, and they're rich businessmen for the most part. That's going to be the ones he's going to be helping with the government, and that's mainly what's going to be supporting him in his political party known as the Federalists. And Hamilton also believes in a broad or loose interpretation of the Constitution. According to Hamilton, hey, it's 1789. One day it's going to be 2022. That Constitution needs to change and flow with the times. And I think the thing that brings Hamilton to life has been the musical. You guys seen the musical? Right? I never even liked rap music until the Hamilton musical came out for the most part. But the way I introduced them to Hamilton is not the musical per se, but in 2009, the author of the musical, Lin-Manuel Miranda, did a White House concert, and he's just written the opening song. The musical didn't come out till 2016, so he spent like 5 years writing it. He said it took a year to write the opening song. I don't want to play that for you, so I hope the system worked. You can hear it all. But listen to when he's at the White House. I'm going to do a song about
Alexander Hamilton, they just laugh at him, like, who is this guy? And they're telling him, good luck with that. Well, he did have good luck with that. And I want to get that going for you. And by the way, who's the narrator in the musical Hamilton? Aaron Burr.
Oh, yeah.
You know what Burr did, right? See, my classes, I have to tell them.
I'm thrilled the White House called me tonight because I'm actually working on a hip hop album. That's a concept album about the life of someone I think embodies hip hop, Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton. You laugh, but it's true. He was born a penniless orphan in St. Croix, of illegitimate birth. Became George Washington's right-hand man. Became Treasury Secretary, caught beef with every other founding father, and all on the strength of his writing. I think he embodies the word's ability to make a difference. So I'm going to be doing the first song from that tonight. I'm accompanied by Tony and Grammy-winning music director Alex Lackamore. Anything you need to know, I'll be playing Vice President Aaron Burr, and snap along if you like. Sebastian, orphan son of a whore, a Scotsman dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean by Providence, impoverished to squalor, grow up to be a hero and a scholar. The $10 founding father without a father got a lot farther by working a lot harder, by being a lot smarter, by being a self-starter. By 14, they placed him in charge of the trade and charter. And every day while slaves were being slaughtered and carted away across the waves, of Hamilton kept his guard up. Inside he was longing for something to be a part of. His brother was ready to beg, steal, borrow, and barter. Then a hurricane came and devastation reigned, and no man saw his future dripping down the drain. Put a pencil to his temple, connected it to his brain, and he wrote his first refrain, a testament to his pain. Word got around, they said this kid is insane, man. Took up a collection just to send him to the mainland. Get your education, don't forget from whence you came, and the world is gonna know your name. What's your name, man? Alexander Hamilton. His name is Alexander Hamilton. There's a million things he hasn't done, but just you wait, just you wait. When he was 10, his father split. Full of it, debt-ridden. 2 years later, see Alex and his mother bedridden, half dead, sinking in their room, sick, the scent thick, and Alex got better. Moved in with the cousin committed suicide, left him with nothing but ruined pride, something new inside a voice saying, Alex, you gotta fend for yourself. He started retreating and reading every treatise on the shelf. There ain't been nothing left to do for someone less to stoop. He would have been destitute without a cent of restitution. Started working, clerking for his late mother's landlord, trading sugar cane and robbing other things he can't afford, scamming for every book he can get his hands on, planning for the future. See him now as he stands on the bow of a ship headed for a new land. In New York, you can't be a new man. The ship is in the harbor now. See if you can spot him. Another immigrant coming up from the bottom. His enemies destroyed his web. America forgot him and me. I'm the damn fool that shot him. Alexander Hamilton. You wait in the weeds for you. You could never back down. You always have to speak your mind. But Alexander Hamilton, you could never take your deeds from you. Ain't no cowardice and no shame. We will try to destroy your name. The world will never be the same. Alexander. Yeah, I'm the damn genius that shot him.
So we get Hamilton in, and then we talk about Thomas Jefferson, which Thomas Jefferson, Hamilton's arch enemy, right, politically anyway, he's going to have a totally opposite philosophy on Hamilton. Hamilton, powerful federal government. What's Jefferson's view? Weak federal government, okay? Jefferson, if you get a strong federal government in there, you get a president in there, you can have another King George III situation, all right? And so Hamilton, weak states, Jefferson, strong states. The states need to be where it's at. It's much easier for a person to go to their state legislature than to some Congress, hundreds, thousands of miles away. And just give you an idea of the view, if they were around today, let's say the United States is going to bomb a country, okay? Let's take a country, Canada. Let's bomb Canada, all right? If we were going to bomb Canada, Alexander Hamilton would say the United States is going to bomb Canada. And we can relate to that statement, right? Thomas Jefferson would say the United States are going to bomb Canada. You see the difference between the is and the are? It's like the states got together and basically gave the federal government permission to do it. And then when it comes to economy, Jefferson, agriculture is the way to go. Everybody needs to eat. Let the workhouses, factories stay in the foul cities of Europe, and we'll keep America fresh and friendly, because according to Jefferson, you start building cities and factories, or you start building factories in cities, it's not going to get long before you get slums and pollution. Now, does he have a point? Yeah, he does have a point. But so it's always going to be agriculture with Jefferson. And Jefferson's going to start his own political party called the Democratic Republicans, made up of farmers who are going to be his biggest supporters. And Jefferson's view of the Constitution, strict. Unless the Constitution says you can do it, you can't. Okay, where Hamilton's more like reading between the lines for the most part. So I want to show you the clip where they introduced Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson, right about the end of the American Revolution, after the Continental Congress wrote the Declaration of Independence, he's U.S. ambassador to France, and he's coming back, and here he's meeting his good friend James Madison. We teach Jefferson, Madison, and Monroe like the three amigos, okay? They're third, fourth, fifth presidents, they're neighbors, they're mentors to each other, and Madison's already going to be expressing his concern about Hamilton and his big government programs. Oh, I didn't get rid of this.
They can turn it up a little bit.
Pick up the set.
blasted in the face. He grabs my arm and I reach my foot. Thomas, we were engaged in a battle for our nation's very soul. You get us out of the mess we're in. Hamilton's new financial plan is nothing less than government control. I've been fighting for the South. We're happy to win. We have to win. What did I do? What did I do? And burst into a political bit. Julia, I have a first happy meeting today. I have a little thing to something to say. I already got my way. Mr. Jefferson, Mr. Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, Mr. Jefferson.
Man, somehow I wish we could bring Thomas Jefferson back and say, this is the way you're being portrayed to American culture. I think he'd have a stroke for the most part, right? So their first big battle is going to be over the national debt. America started out in debt. Does that sound familiar, right? And the national debt Washington had to deal with, you ready for this big number? $54 million. That was basically the cost of the American Revolution. Jefferson's view, you're in debt, what should you do? Pay it off. Let's pay that debt off. Hamilton would come back and argue, you know, we just had an American Revolution on taxes. The worst thing this new federal government can do is start hitting people with heavy taxes right away. So Hamilton had a plan, they call it funding the debt, where they just put the debt off for a little while. And there's just two very different approaches. Hamilton's view, it's good that this federal government owes people money, this new government, because there's going to be a lot of people that want to see this new government succeed simply because we owe them money. And Jefferson, these are direct quotes, Jefferson, a national debt is a national burden, all right? Hamilton's direct quote, a national debt, if not excessive, is a national blessing. Now, what's our national debt today? I think Hamilton would find $31 trillion to be a tad excessive, don't you? For the most part. And this is something great that the students, and I deal with dual credit students. I don't know what y'all know about them, but they're the cream of the crop of juniors from Allen High School, and they come to our campus. And I was telling Mark, I used to be almost the same age as my students, and now in a few years, I'm going to be half a century older than my students. But they're always just amazed about the national debt. Well, how does this work? You know, there's national debt, 31 trillion. I go, well, the way it happens is you're taking in 4.9 trillion, but you're spending 5.9 trillion. So you're going to be in debt. And I always point out to them that that is going to be the biggest issue that they have to deal with. I won't have to worry about it because I'll be in an Alzheimer's unit on good drugs, chasing little old ladies with my walker, and they're going to be paying for it, all right? And so that really hits home with them for the most part. So we sort of pivot off to the national debt, have a discussion on that, and then we talk about Washington's greatest contribution, which he left after 2 terms. And that's going to set a 2-term precedent until what president? Roosevelt. So it's going to be out there for almost 150 years. And George III cannot understand how Washington can leave. And I love how they portray George III in this.
George Washington's yielding his power and stepping away. Is that true? I wasn't aware that was something a person could do. I'm perplexed. Are they going to keep on replacing whoever's in charge? If so, who's next? Is nobody else in their country who looms quite as large? John Adams.
President John Adams. Good luck. They always seem to go out of their way to make George III look like a lunatic. And I'm thinking there's a whole new school of thought on George III, okay? He did lose the 13 colonies, but he had 32 over here. And most of those other 32 are still with the British Empire today. He's going to serve for 60 years as king. That's the longest male monarch in British history. And he defeated Napoleon. So I'm thinking that basically there's going to, that's my next goal, to read a book about George III, because I think there needs to be a fuller picture than the way he's portrayed here. Any questions? So are those two philosophies in Hamilton and Jefferson, are they still being debated today? Very much so, especially on the, most recently on the interpretation of the Constitution. I mean, I don't want to get into an abortion discussion, this is what I tell students, but when they overturned abortion, I think that was going to lead to the direction. According to Samuel Alito's argument, which is a very Jeffersonian argument, it's not a constitutional right unless it's written in the Constitution or it was a tradition back in the 1780s, okay? So in his ruling, abortion was not a tradition, which brings the question, well, gay marriage, was that going in the 1780s? No. Interracial marriage, was that going in the 1780s? So and with these young kids, it just opens up a whole new set of issues. So I think this has been a great teaching tool. We had a class last semester that instead of a textbook, Hamilton was the textbook. Assigned the students songs and they not only played the song, but they had to talk about the context of the song and what brought it about, what was happening, and really turned into a great tool. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Are they scared of the national debt?
I'm sorry?
National debt, are they scared?
Oh yeah, that gets their attention big time because it's going to be something they're going to inherit. And when I tell them the two biggest drivers of the national debt are the baby boomers getting older and with the Medicare and the Social Security. And I'm trying to avoid the fact that I'm a baby boomer. But I'm finding from what I'm seeing, you don't have to worry about the younger generation, at least from what they're tuned in, they realize the issues that are out there. They're more technologically advanced than we are, okay? And I think they just right now, people think a lot of young people, are just out not caring. I think most of them are like a lot of us when we were young. They're working, going to school, and trying to do the right thing. So I think we got some good generations out there.
So you are having really good response from them relative to using this approach.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I play some of these songs and that 20% of the class, they're mouthing the lyrics.
Yeah. My two older grandkids saw it and they thought, I mean, it was like some revelation to them. They thought it was great. I mean, they got it. Great show. And then they watched it 3 or 4 times, and it was like, oh my gosh, that's when I, signed up for Disney Plus for maybe a week so I could watch it.
And we look at some of the lyrics. I don't know if you caught up in Jefferson. I just got back from France where they're having a revolution. It's a big issue in Washington. What are we going to do? Who are we going to support? Well, Jefferson, we should support France. Why? Well, France supported us. Wasn't for France, we wouldn't want it. Hamilton, no, we need to support England because Hamilton has a lot of business dealings with the government and trade with England. And Washington, we're going to go neutral. And we are pretty much, that is our foreign policy until World War I. as far as being neutral. And then Jefferson, I don't know if you noticed, Sally, please bring me the letter. Jefferson's wife died and he promised her he would never marry again, but he does have a 38-year relationship with one of his slaves, Sally Hemings, in which they have 6 children. And Jefferson's going to own a total of well over 200 slaves during his lifetime, and he only freed the ones that were Sally Hemings' children, and gave them some land in Ohio. And then they went into the 90s, they proved through DNA those weren't Jefferson's children. And show a little clip to the class of Jefferson's 2 cousins. One's a white guy, one's a black guy, and they're both 6th great grandparents of Jefferson. And I wish I could join, but all my research, my family were loyalists, so. You got to pay your taxes, all right? Any questions?
Tom?
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah. Thought I heard something.
Joe?
Bill, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that at the end of Reagan's presidency, the national debt was 2.8 trillion.
Yes. But at the end of Carter's presidency, it was 800 billion.
Well, it's true.
I think Reagan is going to be known as the father of the modern national debt because it jumped so much, but people were freaking out back then. But man, if it was 2 trillion today, we'd be patting ourselves on the back with it. It has really gone up. I'm concerned, and it's not stopping. I mean, it was like a slot machine up there. About $3 million a minute. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming to speak to us tonight.
I think it was very good. Thank you so much. Got 2 of them. That. Okay. Right. Let's see here. Next up. Yep. Next up, I had the announcements and some old business to talk about. First thing I want to remind you of is, you can go online and pay your 2023 dues. And hopefully all of you gotten a due statement in the mail by now. Has anybody not gotten a due statement that's supposed to get one? Okay, so we're good at that. Okay, so that's good. So anyway, go ahead and try to get that in and get it done as quick as you can. Time slips up on you, you know. Next one is the Wreaths Across America. We'll be placing those wreaths on December the 17th at 11 o'clock in the morning. Well, there's a program we go through first, and it's going to be in Melissa at the little small cemetery up there. I think you've got, yes, sir.
November 29th is the last day you can buy a wreath.
Yeah.
Honor a veteran, buy a wreath.
Okay, so I put the call out because we made a commitment to our cemetery partners of doing 2/3 of the wreaths. They need 100 wreaths, 66. We did that in 3 days. Okay, right at the first 3 days, it's done. So I would encourage everybody, you know, to come out and at least see what goes on there. We're hoping to have people from maybe 7 or 8. Looking at Mark here, 7 or 8, 9 maybe, Ryan, all the way up to maybe somebody that's 92. Okay, out there. So come out, and I mean it's not a very hard thing to do, and you really don't have to. You can go lay 1 or 2 races, leave if you want to after, or not anyway. Come for the program and everything, because it's a very special thing to do. And in fact, I wanted to pass this around everybody. So at our basically we got basically a commendation from National. Our McKinney chapter did for Partners in Patriotism
and Wreaths Across America. We did that last year. So this is what we came back from national because we did that. So that's why we're gonna do it again this year. It's not that hard to do. So anyway, think about that, put it on the calendar. Again, the cemetery is probably 20, maybe 25 minutes from right here, probably 20, 25. Yeah.
You gonna post an address or?
Yeah. I'll send something out. I'll be sending out an address, where you can come to it and everything. It's very easy to get on 75 and run up here, and before you know it, you're in Anna, and so on a little back road. Oh, you know where the big sports complex is there in Anna, Melissa? It's just a little bit past, when you go along that road, a little bit past that place where you turn in. It's an old cemetery. It's been there for a number of years. So that's that. On the Bonham VA Veterans Gift Program, the ones of you that were here, you probably recall that we had a discussion about that. The Bob Johns from the Plano chapter, and then of course John Greer also chatted about that. But we basically we farmed up 5 chapters to basically raise money to provide Christmas presents for the basically the veterans that are in the Bonham facility, the rehab facility. And so we were gonna, each one of us pool some money and see what we could get up to. I got a message here today from Bob Johns, and he says, here's an update on our 5 chapters Christmas project. Thanks to the generosity of our members, we have a fund of $1,100 for gifts for the veterans at Bonham. So, and then the next statement says, John Greer and I will work with Tina McDaniel, the volunteer coordinator, to select the gifts and communicate it back to each of you. So for our part of that, at the executive committee meeting we had last week, because we had paid off, we had basically in our budget, we had $250 to sort of help pad and cover the Wreaths Across America project if we needed to try to get up to those 66 wreaths that we were going to do. Since we achieved that goal in 3 days, we've now got to hit that $250 there. So basically, we voted on that and decided we would give that $250 to this program. So our part of this, of one of the 5, we gave $250 for that. So that's a good thing. They'll report that back to us, and then we get to report that in through one of the reports we do, which we get credit for, basically good works for the volunteers and people. So again, thank you everybody for supporting that, and I think that's working out really well. So that's basically that part of it. The next thing I want to tell you about is that we're not going to meet here in December. Every December we have a Christmas party at one of the members' homes, and this year Nathan and Wanda White are going to have that. I'll be sending out the information on it. It's sort of like a church potluck dinner thing. Basically, Wanda will prepare the meat dish for us, and everybody that wants to come, if you could bring, a side dish, a dessert, an appetizer, et cetera, to that. Then we have a little sampling of a lot of things in that. So consider coming. It's a sort of a fun time. You get to talk to a lot of people that maybe you don't get to talk to that often. Learn a little more about them. We'll have a little short business meeting, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But one of the things we're going to do this year, like we did last year, we purchased a lot of, at John Greer's suggestion and request, we purchased some over 200 or so, as I recall, John, 200 something Christmas cards. And at the at our Christmas party, we took about, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes or something. We have a little statement we want you to hand write on the inside, so it's just not something printed up that we throw it out, but a handwritten statement. And then basically I took those up to Bonham, and they distributed those. We still can't get into the facility, but I distributed them. This year, they've given us a goal of 300. I'm working toward that, so we'll see how we come on that. But I'll be buying some more cards. One of our members, actually, his wife, every time he gets these cards in the mail, from various people that wanting money and that sort of thing. She's been keeping all these cards. So she's got this big collection of pretty nice cards for the most part. We'll have to look through the screen and make sure we're not doing something that we shouldn't be doing, but hopefully we'll have some extra cards too. Plus, turns out you can go to the Dollar Tree, right, John, or it's a dollar. Can't remember which one is, one of the dollar stores anyway, and you can get a big batch of cards for not much money. Okay.
They're owned by the same company now.
Oh, okay, so dollar, whatever.
Dollar Tree.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, and I mean, it's just something a little extra, and as John has told us many times, some of those guys, it's a rehab facility, either for PTSD or drug abuse, et cetera, and some of those guys have just been dumped up there, okay? They don't get anything, Christmas, nothing. So if we can put a smile on their face by somebody saying, we remembered you and thank you, here's a card. And oh, by the way, this year now, we're gonna be thinking about giving them some gifts again this year. If we can do that, that'll touch everybody in here, because, as I always say, we've got it really good here, guys. Regardless of what you think, we've got it really good. So keep that in mind. John, you want to add anything else?
I just want to explain a few things about the veteran.
Here, let me.
Everything that we do at the final VA, they put a dollar value on it. And at the end of the year, we have a meeting with our VABS reps, which I'm one and Bob Johns is, and they tell us how much the SAR has donated to the VA. For instance, when we volunteer up there, we get approximately credit for $24 an hour that we're up there. The items like the Christmas cards, we'll get a point for every Christmas card that we give them. We'll get a point for every dollar that we'll be doing. Do any of you have friends or relatives that are homebound? If you go visit them, then we get credit for the hours that you visit them. Okay, now, if you go to a funeral of a veteran, doesn't have to be an SAR member, but a funeral of a veteran, if you go in just your suit and tie, we get a certain amount of points. If you go in a college guard uniform, we get a certain amount of points. Now, if you can't go to the funeral and you do go to the body viewing or the wake or wherever each patient calls it, we do get credit for that. And we get credit for the mileage there and the mileage home. So if you keep track of all of this and give it to Tom when we fill out the veterans report, you'd be surprised how fast those points add up for the things that we're doing. The Race Across America, that's one of the things that we do. You put a flag on somebody's grave, we get points for doing that. So like I said, everything that we do for the veterans, is for the veterans, but we also get credit for them.
You covered my next one. Okay. Which was one of my next points. If you have, I know laws has sent me some things and a few others, but if during the year, if you have gone to a funeral of a veteran, okay, if you could let me know that, to send me a quick email, basically that you went to a veteran's funeral at the location of it, and also about the number of miles it took you round trip. And the same thing if you happen to put a wreath or flags or something like that, the things like he's talking about. Just send me a little short note. I need something that I can put in the file, so if they come ask us for the proof, we can show them. But if you do have that, please send me a little quick email on that.
Does attending the grave marking ceremony count for points?
It counts in a different way, I think.
Ask that question again.
Okay. He wants to know the grave marking ceremony. Did that count against some of the points we get?
It counts in a different category. There is a Patriot grave marking category that the chapter president can report on.
Right,
But it is a different category than the veteran.
right.
And I guess that technically, that's a good question to ask, because when we do the grade marking, as we did for the Patriot up in Bonham,
Right.
he was technically a veteran also.
He was.
So, I don't know, maybe you want to put on the report.
Let's see what happens. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay, so let's see here. I mentioned that. Oh, I mentioned that I'll be putting out something for the Christmas party. Again, think about coming. It's a fun time, and we'll have a little signing the cards, and probably I'll do it again like I did last year. I did like a little by the numbers presentation. Sort of said, here's what the chapter's done, by the numbers throughout the year. Just a little quick summary of that, so you can sort of appreciate what all the different things we've had going on and what we've been recognized at the state and national for. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to do is talk to you about the proposed slate of officers for 2023. Okay, as you recall, a month or two ago, we formed a committee. Turned out it was Nathan White and Pete McCollin. Okay, and they basically went through a process, took inputs and everything, and basically we have a 2023 slate of officers. Now, if you look on the back cover of your program here, the slate is listed. This is the proposed slate of officers. So you can look through there. Most of them the same. I guess it's probably the only difference, isn't it, Mark? The only difference is Mark McCraw and I are going to change places. Mark's going to basically on this is going to be listed. We're going to be the president in this proposed slate, and then I would basically take over the VP of programs. So at this time, I would like to ask if there are any other nominations that anyone here in the chapter would like to put forward relative to this slate of officers. Anyone? Boy, crickets. Okay, so since there have been no new other ones, I would ask for a motion to accept this slate of 2023 officers as described.
So moved.
Okay. Let's see, Tom Van Boston, who was the second?
Joe?
Joe, okay, thank you. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Okay. Okay, having heard no discussion, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we'll go forward with that. We will have a, basically, we will vote on this during the Christmas party in December, okay? And then the plan will be after that, in January, then we will have basically a induction of the new officers. And at this time, of course, this could get changed, but I've asked our state president to come back and do that for us. And he at the time, when we was here a month or two ago, he put it on his calendar and said, yep, I think I could probably do that. So it'll either be him or it'll probably be basically our district vice president would come into the forest coming together. So any questions or comments on that? Okay, all right. Okay, so let's see. Get back to my program here again. I think this is the fixing to come up on the fun part of it, I think. Okay, yes. All right. Going to give out some awards now. The first ones I'd like to give out are for the people who volunteered to help me during the Board of Managers meeting that we were the host chapter for here in October. So I've got a list of names. And if you guys would come up, again, I want to give you a certificate of appreciation for your help.
Carrie Barnett. You just start, there's gonna be a long line here. Well, I don't know, some people are here. Start over there, yeah, okay. Peter Ford. Pete McClellan, but he's not here. Bob Milway is not here. Andy Milson. Blasbury. Bill Watts. Wake up, Bill. Bill Watts.
I was asleep.
I could tell. All I could see was the top of your coonskin cap or whatever that thing is you got on. What type of cap is that?
Beaver.
Beaver, oh, Beaver, boy, got a wealthy man here in the organization. Then I had Tom Whitelock. T2, I'll probably try to come to the Dallas chapter next time and get that to him. And Ted Wilson. Now, is there anybody that helped that I forgot relative to what we were doing? Okay, so I really appreciate you guys volunteering because let's see, at the end of the day, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that volunteered basically to help us during the activity at the registration desk and in various other ways. Okay, so I'm going to get your certificates here. I'm going to put this down. I think I can do this without. Yeah, okay. And I'll just pass them out and then we'll just take, you take pictures. Film's cheap, right? Okay, let's see. This is Carrie. Okay. Peter, our treasurer. Terry is our webmaster. Peter's our treasurer. Oh, here, I'm sorry. Whoa. Oh, no, I'm teasing. Okay. And Peter and Bob are not here. Oh, where's Bob? Hey, that's great. Yeah, I know. Pretty dignified look there. Oh, it's my chin. Long as you're ready. No, okay. This guy looks just like me. Andy Milson. Okay. Wait a minute.
Dan Fossen, get up here.
How did I miss him? Get up here.
Get up here. He's just sitting back there.
Did I say his name?
Yeah. You said T2, but he just sat back there.
I don't.
He was more.
I think it was my fault.
Well, I got thanked for the meeting.
I know, yeah, you got something to meet too, I know, but I appreciate the chapter. This guy saved my life several times. His job was to keep me out of trouble. He did a good job at it for the most part. And then Bill got recognized. I got his already. Bill got recognized also at the meeting, but I wanted to say thank you. This guy, I mean, I don't know where he gets all the time in the day to do it. He did all the registration stuff, everything, all the name tags, all everything. It's all on the computer, I know. Tom Whitelock, we'll have fun with him.
He did the training too for this.
He did we had a training session for our volunteers even. So they knew what we put in. And then Ted, of course, buddy Ted, he'd go back a ways, and he's always great help to us. Okay. Okay. So and everybody but Peter Ford can sit down.
All right. I'm in trouble.
You're in trouble. Okay. So Peter's our treasurer, and I asked him to do quite a bit of extra duty. Don't get the point. Right? Quite a bit of extra duty. We basically were responsible as people registered for this meeting. We would get this information in, and we had to keep up with the information about all the different things that they purchased, what they purchased. A banquet meal and which one, and all the various things. They paid dues, that they got raffle tickets, all these different things. And so we actually ended up having me and you and then, the lady, ladies auxiliary president. Yeah. So we were jointly watching it, and then of course our state webmaster, Ray Cox, was also doing it. He provided us a spreadsheet. But basically, we want to make sure that at the end of the day, we didn't forget anybody, we didn't mess up anything. Somebody, said they wanted chicken and they actually got the fish meal or whatever, all those things. And so he's struggling through it, and at the end of the day, we kept coordinating, and at the end of the day, and of course, Bill also watched through it all because he was having to print out all this stuff. But at the end of the day, there's something a lot extra. So at the state BOM, I basically put you in for the Texas Society Bronze Service Medal for doing that. Here is your medal for that. And so this came from the state, so it's signed by the state president. And we're gonna do this. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And on top of that, I have to be nice to you. He knows where I live and he can get there quick. Okay, so that was good. So, and we'll get the others to the other people here. Oh, that right there. Okay. Okay. I guess the next up is the I did the slate of art. I already did the slate of candidates. I did that out of order, didn't I?
Yeah, I did that.
I did that. That's all. So it is gonna work. Okay. Okay, the next one up is approval of the October minutes. They're on the website. Do I hear a motion to approve those as written? Bill Watts. Okay. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Peter Ford. Is there any discussion? Discussion. Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right. Okay, Peter, you can get up again.
Yes, sir.
Here we go.
All right, here's treasurer's report. So the bank balance as of the October 20th meeting was $6,664.44. Since that time, we've received $40 from two dual chapter membership dues. So that makes the bank balance currently at $6,704.44. And I'm going to ask any questions. Anybody?
Questions or discussion?
Discussion.
For the ones of you who weren't here, maybe the last time we did that.
Yes.
Last time we did that, after discussion of some of the other chapters and our district vice president, we decided that really we shouldn't be basically approving these, because all we've done is said, here's a report on what they are. So what we've decided to do is that at the end of each year, we're going to go through a little audit process, and then we'll come back to the chapter to basically approve the numbers after we go through the audit process and make sure we got it right. So anyway, but if you have any questions, that's where we are right now. And right now, if we can just get David Kinsey to get all of the machinations done, we should pick up here from the effort associated with the Board of Management meeting. I'm estimating right now somewhere around $1,500 more. Okay, so a lot of hard work, and that all these people that helped, a lot of hard work, but for the money. But again, we should be picking that up. So I'm hoping maybe by the end of the year, at least in the first quarter here, we'll have a nice jump in that. And I'm excited about that because that means we can do more, give more money away for various good causes.
Have you been acknowledged for your participation in BOM?
At the state level.
Well, I think we should as a chapter.
Oh, okay.
So I'd like to just.
Oh, thank you. I'm humbled by that. Thank you so much. So anyway, like I said, we are going to get some extra cash coming in. So I think that's a good thing. We've talked about some more projects. So just Andy, come back here. So So, just in a nutshell, if you, I know I've mentioned this a lot, but I missed the guy. So as I've told you, basically we lost our vice president of awards, Louis Juarez, which is he was a dedicated SAR member. Great guy, easy to talk to. Enjoyed having Mexican food with him about once every 2 weeks. And, but he went very quickly, but we left him for him. This guy stepped up. I didn't twist his arm. He stepped up and said he would like to take this on. So would you give this a little quick, so you've been doing this for what, about a month? Yeah, tell them where you are right now. We're in the problem we have right now, right quick is we really are trying to get as much done as we can in a short period of time here. And so basically he's focusing on the history teachers in the public school system that teach the Revolutionary War at each level. So that helps.
Yeah, so I may have reported last time, I contacted McKinney ISD, Allen ISD, Frisco, a couple of the homeschool organizations, 3 or 4 private schools, and I heard back from Frisco ISD. So that's it so far. They nominated 4 high school teachers. I contacted the district level curriculum supervisors. They nominated 4 high school teachers and 2 middle school teachers. I printed out and put together an envelope mailer with all the materials, sent it to mailed it out to those 6 teachers, and then emailed all of them to follow up. They've all confirmed that they received my packet and said they're working on their applications. So hopefully we'll have at least a couple that we can award here in the middle and high school level. And then Tom, the ones that we don't select that are second place, we'll send down to Dallas.
Yeah. or maybe up to
Plano or up to
Sherman,
Yeah, we'll make sure that all of them get everyone that applies, as long as they're, somewhat coherent applications, essays and all that kind of good stuff.
If you need a chairman, I would highly recommend contact information. Gail Kidd. Okay. It was the state and then national elementary history school teacher sponsored out of Dallas years ago. She spoke national and national. She spoke at our last.
I saw her, yeah.
He's talked to her.
With someone now for our chapter for this country. But if you need any of those people, to talk to somebody who's been through it, what she got from it, I'd be happy to share that. That'd be great. Yeah.
So
I'll tip her off.
So I said that because, yeah, that money's coming up, but remember, we can enter at elementary, middle school, and high school level. So he's gotten what, middle school and high school.
Right, middle school and high school.
Middle to high school. So I'm just saying, and we probably ought to give them a little more than what we gave them the last time. So we'll be in discussions with that, but I think we need to look at that a little bit more. So we'll be talking about it. Yes, sir.
I like to be a cheerleader for the video contest.
Oh, yeah.
That is a big contest and it's not that hard to enter.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's see, that's all of that. Do we have any other business from the board? Yes, Bill.
One last thing. We're gonna have another Patriot Grave Market.
Oh. Yeah.
We got James Lemon approved by National. And we talked with Gary today and we've got a semi-firm date of March 25th.
Okay.
Of 2023. I would like all of you to come out and join us at the honor Patriot James Lemon. We've been working on him for 6 years.
And this man's gotten it through.
With help.
With help.
Sir, where's he buried? He's buried in Lebanon, Lebanon, Texas, Dallas County, and it's Edgewood Cemetery. It's not quite that. Yes, sir.
Hey, when you say you've been working on it for 6 years, like what's the biggest obstacle?
Proof of of service.
Okay.
And what happened was, Georgia got all their books PDF and placed online. And I accidentally downloaded it and found his name and that's his
through. Yes, John.
There is a state president that's buried at the Pecan Grove Cemetery. And Nathan and I went out and located the grave. I've got a marker that we can use to put on it. So sometime in the spring, we'll decide who we're gonna mark here.
Okay. Anything else? Why? Ray, you're off the fly. Hey, Ray.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wake up.
You're off the fly, man.
I am quiet.
That barbecue settling in really good, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Tom, I'm thinking about all this grave market and what a wonderful job that everybody did over at Bob, which means we all can come together to get a job done.
Right.
And I'm with Bill on this one. We need to come together and honor this place.
Right. I agree. Well, I think we're beginning to show it again. It's like what we're fixing to do for the veterans, where we got, several chapters here in the area to go together and do this. So I think it's working well. Anything else?
I'm gonna make a comment on what Jim Orthodox told me when we were having the grave market with James Carter. He said that it was really great that the North Texas chapter got together and put on a great program.
Yeah.
And I think that's.
He told me the same thing.
Are working together.
Yeah. Okay, is Don still with us? Hey, Don? Yo, Don.
He's asleep.
Don Dad.
Did we lose him?
You may not be at his desk.
I'm here.
Oh, good.
Are you ready for the Are you ready for the benediction?
Yes, sir, please.
All right. God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Ghost, bless, preserve, and keep you. The Lord mercifully with his favor look upon you and fill you all with spiritual benediction and grace, and protect you until we meet again. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, you'll join me in the processional now. It's in your book pamphlet there. Until we meet again, let us remember our obligations to our forefathers who gave us our Constitution, the Bill of Rights, an independent Supreme Court, and a nation of free men. Okay, I'm adjourning this meeting. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Well, have fun.